So I don't know if you remember, but there was a I don't know what just happened. But there was a jagoff nightclub comedian during the general election kept saying that if Donald Tanahan's Trump won, that the silver lining would be that it would actually be better for a progressive agenda long run, right? So short run, it hurts because, but in the long run, meaning 4 years, it's a bonus. It's a silver lining in a sense because Donald Trump is toxic to the Republican Party, right? He's the most unpopular, his lowest ratings, any president at this point, so he's pretty unpopular. He was the most unpopular guy to ever win the presidency because he got lucky and ran against a completely incompetent campaign by one of the most disliked people in the world. He got lucky. So in that sense, I mean. So I said that what would happen is if all the Democrats and independents banded together, oh, this is going.
Oh, that's a mind of its own today.
Yeah.
Look at it go.
If the Democrats and progressives banded together and the purple state Republicans peeled off, Trump wouldn't be able to get anything done, blah, blah, which is happening. They weren't able to, they're not able to pass a tax plan. His travel bans keep failing. They weren't able to repeal Obamacare. So he's an incompetent, right? Which is, in a sense, good because he won't be able to get all that horrible stuff done he wants to. And he keeps shooting himself in the foot trying to get that horrible stuff done. And he's splitting the party. That's what I said. That's not what first of all, I was just repeating what I had heard on the Christopher Hayes show. He had 3 people on, that McKay Coppins, the guy who used to be from BuzzFeed. Now I think he's somewhere else. He had on a guy from Red State, and he had himself, Chris. And they're all saying, yes, if Trump wins, it'll split the it'll destroy the Republican Party. That's what they were saying. And I sided with them. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That looks like it would. And it turns out it is having that effect. Now, what the Democrats have to do is be able to not allow the Republicans to distance themselves from Trump. They have to wed them together. And that's how the Democrats can win in 2018 and 2020. Okay. Proof of this theory coming true? Fox News, Neil Cavuto, who, by the way, did a whole piece defending Roger Ailes that we've talked about on this show. That guy, that's who this guy is, Neil Cavuto. That's who Neil Cavuto is. Even Neil Cavuto is starting to turn on Trump already. We're only 5 months into not even 5 months into his presidency.
Well,
oh no, we are 5 months. That's right, because it's June already. Yeah, so we're 5. He's getting sworn in to 20th of February, March. So we're about 5 months in.
Well, I just wanted to add, Jimmy, you can dislike Trump and still think Roger Ailes is great. # Rachel Maddow.
Yes, that is. Oh, so here we go. Let's listen to Neil Cavuto and his upsetness.
So the president's having dinner tonight with key Republicans on getting this whole health care thing back on track. Here's hoping they ruin his appetite. In fact, everyone's appetite. Here's hoping they get brutally blunt with the president. Here's hoping they give him some food for thought and let him know if he keeps doing what he's doing, they'll all be politically puking next year.
A lot of upset stomach analogies going on there. I feel like he's body shaming him, too.
Sounds like Jagoff nightclub comedian was right. That wasn't, by the way, that's not a brilliant prediction. That's just, but the problem with politics today is people are paid to not see what's right in front of their face. So that's the problem. And then they go out and say all this stuff, and then other knuckleheads in the media just repeat it, even though they're not paid to repeat it. They do because they hear it from the establishment, and the establishment's always right. So this is Jagoff nightclub comedian and Neil Cavuto figured out that if Trump is president, that the Republicans and Trump will be getting cooked in 2018. You don't here. Let's listen.
They give him some food for thought and let him know if he keeps doing what he's doing, they'll all be politically puking next year.
They'll all be. You mean the Republicans? Yes. They'll all be politically puking next year. It's a guy who defended Roger Ailes. Just so you know. So this isn't some progressive theory. This isn't some crazy guy on the left hoping you're wrong. We should have had Hillary. No, this is exactly how it's working out. Now, Ken, the Democrats are going to try and screw it up. They're going to try to run Tim Kaine. They won't say single payer. They don't think people really want $15 minimum wage. They're not against fracking. You know, the Democrats are horrible, which is why we have Trump. That's what people don't understand. You don't have Trump because of Jill Stein. You have Trump because the Democrats are horrible and they don't represent the people who they're supposed to represent. And that's obvious. Again, only to people who aren't paid to think another way. If you're not paid to have an opinion like the people at Share Blue, Media Matters, then you can see this. It's obvious. But if you're like, you know, all the people at MSNBC, you're not going to see this. Right? Because you're paid to not see it. I would love someone to pay me $30,000 a day to not see stuff because I'm good at not seeing stuff. All right, so here we go.
Will get angry. Some of them will get angry, probably furious. Maybe start tweeting about the first one who dares question his wisdom, like he did today when he tweeted, and I quote, "The fake mainstream media is working so hard trying to get me not to use social media. They hate that I can get the honest and unfiltered message out." Mr. President, it is not the fake news media that's your problem. It's you. It's not just your tweeting, it's your scapegoating.
Just keep this in mind as we go through this. This is Fox News. Just so you know.
They stayed behind Bush until the end.
They're behind Trump. They when you watch their broadcasties, they don't say the bad things about him. They spin it just like they normally would. Whoa, to me, this is a big deal. Think how bad it must be for a guy who defended Roger Ailes to come out and tell the truth. He's telling the truth. Hey, Trump is screwing us. Us clinging to Trump is a bad idea.
Your refusal to see that sometimes you're the one who's feeding your own beast and acting beastly with your own guys. Those are your guys, Mr. President. They're on your team, Mr. President. And right about now, they seem shell-shocked and dejected, though looking at their deer in the headlight eyes, I bet they're too afraid to tell you. Now, they're not perfect, but they do have your back. As no less than the Wall Street Journal muses today, do you have theirs? Mr. President, they didn't tweet disparaging comments about a London mayor in the middle of a murder spree. You did. They didn't create that needless distraction. You did. They didn't get you off your very valid and very promising agenda. You did. They didn't turn on a travel ban that you signed. You did. You're right to say a lot of people are out to get you, Mr. President. They are. But as the Journal pointed out, the buck stops with you, Mr. President, and risks ruining the very promising economic agenda that has buoyed spirits and the markets because of you, Mr. President. That's good. Look at these critiques you're now hearing from usually friendly and supportive allies as sort of like an intervention. Because firing off these angry misses and tweets risks your political destruction. Quoting the Journal, if this pattern continues, Mr. Trump may find himself running an administration with no one but his family and the Breitbart staff. People of talent and integrity won't work for a boss who undermines them in public without thinking about the consequences.
Again, if the Democrats had to lose, they could not have picked a better guy to lose to. He is wrecking the Republican brand. And he's going to take them down with him if we let him. But the Democrats are trying so hard to not give the people an alternative to the Republicans. They're trying as hard as they can right now. That's why they got Tom Perez as the head of the DNC. That's why they won't say let single payer leave their lips. That's why they won't come out nationally for the $15 minimum wage. That's why they won't say we want to end the wars. That's why they just keep talking about Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. This is why.
Well, not only that, but instead of really focusing on let's get a platform that's going to kick ass and get some of these discouraged people back, get some people back on board, they're more focused on impeaching him, which would then give us President Pence something way worse.
It's again, we're watching the dumbest political party in the world, the Democratic Party, and it's a gift to them. But they're broken, which is why we have Trump. So they can't even take advantage of the gift. They can't even take it back. And who gets screwed? And who, by the way, people still mad at Jill Stein, still not mad at the DNC for screwing us out of Bernie Sanders, who would have kicked Trump's ass. People still mad at Jill Stein voters, still mad at Bernie busters. How could you ever get mad at someone for not voting Hillary Clinton? As my friend Russ G. Lewis says, Hillary Clinton was the only politician in history not expected to win over voters by campaigning. She's the only one. Yeah, in fact, they knew she was hurting in Michigan, and they decided not to go to Michigan to try to get her numbers up because they thought that would signal she was weak there. So that's what. But you're supposed to go campaign. That's why you have a campaign. Except when Hillary Clinton campaigns, as we've pointed out before in the show, her numbers start here and they only go down. They never go back up because she's a bad politician and people don't like her.
Well, and part of the reason there isn't really a clear platform right now, and they're not going along with the platform of the most popular politician in the country who is in their party,
yes,
is because there's this entitlement to your vote. Like, well, we're not Trump.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously, we're it.
Yeah.
We're it. And that's just another
talk about entitlement.
Flaw.
That's that party of super delegates, the party who rigged it here in California. So now the Democratic Party in California literally just rigged an election so that a corporate pharmaceutical lobbyist can be the Democratic Party chairman in California. That's the party in blue California. They cheated. They used super delegates. And they literally, a lot of people are accusing them of literally rigging the vote, because there were way more progressives voting for a progressive chair of the party. So that's the corporate Democrats. They're liars, they're cheaters, and why wouldn't they be? They don't have any integrity. They want corporate money, which is the opposite of having integrity and ethics in politics. So here we go. But again, Jagoff nightclub comedian was completely right about this. This is exactly how it's happening. And the Democrats are screwing up because they want to impeach him. It's like it's like, oh, hey, I wish that Congress would just impeach Trump so we could get rid of all these distractions and get down to the serious business of impeaching Pence. Because what else? The Democrats don't have a goddamn agenda. Imagine how the Democrats could be kicking ass if those marches were for single payer, if that march was for free college, if that march was for a living wage, if that march was for breaking up the banks. Imagine if they had that every week, a march like that. Let's have a march to break up the banks. We'll get hundreds of thousands of people out. Let's talk. Because the corporate Democrats have hijacked those marches, and those marches now become about nothing. 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 And they'd rather... Anyway, here we go.
Consequences for them and you, Mr. President. And the Journal knows because they like you. They like your agenda. I find it ironic that on this...
Let me listen to that. The Wall Street Journal. They like your agenda. The Wall Street Journal. So now you go, oh, we don't ever have to listen. So if we could just... This is who the Wall Street Journal is, America. They're in bed with Trump's agenda. Just so you know. Like, people don't realize how nefarious and anti-American... Wall Street is, the Wall Street Journal, most of the politicians, the pharmaceutical industry, the military-industrial complex. Those people are not pro-America. Those people are pro-corporate greed, which is anti-America.
I mean, this is a news organization. Like, we're watching a clip from a news organization. The whole concept of the media is to be a watchdog of the powerful. We are literally watching a clip right now where a journalist is saying to a world leader, hey, you're forgetting we're your friend.
Yeah,
that's literally the theme of what this guy's saying.
Yeah.
You're forgetting we're your friend.
Yeah, the news media is here to help you. The Wall Street Journal wants to help you. We want to help you. That's what these say. That's a good catch, Ron. All right, back to him.
73rd anniversary of D-Day. Some of your most ardent backers are desperately girding for another battle, not for Normandy, for normalcy, for sticking to an agenda that matters and not silly distractions that do not. That is what your most ardent supporters are pushing for you to keep pushing. They want you signing legislation, not settling endless scores. They're not saying never let them see you tweet. They are saying never let them see you sweat. Remember, no one ever said that Harry Truman didn't have a temper or that Ronald Reagan a long memory. They just preferred giving their critics hell than telling them to go to hell. Now, just because your own critics never thought that you'd make it to the White House does not mean you shouldn't listen to those who want you to thrive and succeed in the White House. They're not the problem, Mr. President. Like I said, these days, You are.
Wow.
So that's big news that should be big news to the Democrats. And what the Democrats will respond with is Russia. Russia. No solutions to anyone's problems. And they're still doing it, which is why I'm a draft Bernie guy. I mean, I'm all for primary and corporate Democrats, too. I mean, we got to get the corporate money out of politics. That's what I'm for. I think the quickest way to that right now is draft Bernie. We'll see what happens. What do you think, Ron? I mean, that's pretty stunning, right? That this is Fox News.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And the fact that it's on Fox News means Trump will actually see it. Hopefully he doesn't take the advice and stuff starts getting done. Because, I mean, I agree on a number of levels. I don't think it's a good idea to impeach him because I think, if he gets impeached tomorrow, then the Republicans have enough time to distance themselves from Trump. And then President Pence, we'd probably have him again in 2020. So that would be pretty bad, and it's a far greater risk. And yeah, as far as what to do moving forward, I support an all of the above approach too. I support what Justice Democrats are doing. I support what Brand New Congress is doing because in the short term, I think that's important. But in the long term, I think the two-party system's over. I think it's a really broken system that is going to keep giving us flat tires. So I want to see a new third party.
I would love to see a strong third party. Well, we're going to find out if it's possible. We're certainly going to find out if it's possible because I don't believe me. People are not going to vote for the corporate Democrats, even if Trump's in the White House. They didn't vote for Hillary frickin' the last time. Okay, so just keep that in mind. With every media outlet pushing Hillary Clinton, I mean, mainstream establishment, of course, not right wing, but and the entire Democratic. I mean, she had every establishment, every person in the world on her side. She even had Republicans on her side. She had Republicans. Remember, she was lining up neocons, Henry Kissinger and Negroponte. She had neocons backing her. Couldn't get it done. So we do need a third party, and hopefully the third party crushes the Democrats and we never see them again. So good luck. I think this is bigger news than people want to let on. And also just watch the corporate Democrats. They're slimy, man. They're really slimy. They're going to try to take this and just talk about impeachment so they don't have to change at all. So they don't have to do any self-reflection. They don't have to they don't have to actually help you. That's what I'm talking about. So, thank you, Neil Cavuto. The next live Jimmy Dore show is June 19th in Burbank, California, and July 15th in San Francisco at the Great Star Theater. For all links for all tickets to those shows and our full schedule, right there, there's a link to JimmyDoreComedy.com. We'll see you at those live shows.